Celtics fans, I wanted to let you guys know the news first thing on today's show so y'all aren't caught off guard later on. But this is going to be my last week here working at Chat Sports and my last week as the host of Boston Celtics Today. I've made the decision to go back to school this fall, get my master's degree in sports law. I've really enjoyed getting to cover the Boston Celtics. So thank you all for your support of the channel. It's been really fun this year plus, being able to cover the C's, being able to cover the NBA, and it's been awesome getting to connect with a lot of you. So thank you guys so much. Chat Sports is still going to have you covered here, though, during free agency. They're going to have some different hosts coming on here to take over for me before they find a long-term replacement. They'll keep you posted on that as well. So still, be sure to subscribe for free agency coverage. We are going to have you covered on the NBA free agency period. So hit that subscribe button below. Also, turn on your notifications so you stay in the loop with all things Seeds. It's going to be an interesting offseason for the Celtics. Already been an interesting offseason. They traded for Kristaps Porzingis. Could Darius Garland be next? This was not a name that was in trade rumors at the start of the offseason. But today, we're starting to hear some Darius Garland trade buzz. Should Boston make a move for the Cleveland Cavaliers point guard? Sam Amico said that they could move Garland over there in Cleveland. He said in this article that he posted this morning, the exact quote was, "Some have said not to be surprised if the Cavs move Garland." He noted that Cleveland has two 6'1" guards, and he said that they're not sure if that's going to work long-term, which is why they might move the all-star point guard. Taking a look at the numbers here for Darius Garland, 21.6 points per game, 7.1 assists per game, 2.7 rebounds per game. He shot 46.2% from the floor. He's a really good young player. Brian Windhorst said this the other day, and this is before the Garland trade rumors really kind of took off today. "I have some speculation. There's a couple of outlandish stuff that I'm not going to say right now because I'd get in trouble. I wish I could tell you more, and I know I shouldn't tease you." So Brian Windhorst was like, all right, what's going on in Cleveland? But Windhorst today, after this report from Sam Amico, said that Cleveland is not shopping Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland. I think when that initial Brian Windhorst quote was said on ESPN Cleveland the other day, a lot of us were thinking, man, could they trade Donovan Mitchell? Could they trade Darius Garland? But Brian Windhorst today saying that they're not going to be shopping either of those two players this summer. So some conflicting reports, a big J-off, if you will, when you're talking about the Darius Garland trade rumors. But let's say he does go on the trade block. Would you trade for Darius Garland? Type T for trade or type P for pass down in the comment section. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So an ad break comes, go down, chime in. Would you trade for Darius Garland? Let me know down in the comment section. T for trade, P for pass. If he does indeed get traded, I expect the Celtics maybe to be one of the teams linked here to Garland if he does in fact get moved. Now, if you trade for Darius Garland, you'd probably have to give up Jaylen Brown in all likelihood, right? I don't see a world where you trade for Garland without giving up Brown because Kristaps Porzingis, he's going to be owed $36 billion this year. He's expected to sign a long-term extension. You got to pay Jason Tatum. So you just couldn't afford four all-star caliber players in Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Darius Garland. You'd have to give up Brown in this trade. But if you go to Jaylen Brown and you offer this max extension, he says no. I don't know who in their right mind would turn down that kind of money. But if Jaylen Brown says no and the Cavs call you about maybe a swap here, I do believe that could make sense. The Celtics could obviously use a point guard after the trade of Marcus Smart. Right now, Malcolm Brogdon is slated to be your starting point guard, which is fine. But Darius Garland, if the Cavaliers do in fact intend to shop him, I think that he could be a decent fit on this Celtics team. And the Celtics gear could be a decent fit on you. Got some gear on sale right now. Chatsports.com/Celtics deal. All of the best for sale items on Fanatics are at that link. Chatsports.com/Celtics deal. That link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Go and take advantage of all the gear they have on sale right now. Go and rep the C's. Chatsports.com/Celtics deal. Now, we just talked about the possibility of trading for Darius Garland. However, could Norman Powell be a more realistic trade target here for the C's? I do tend to think that. NBA Central tweeting this earlier today, that Norman Powell is available for trade per Jake Fisher. So Jake Fisher, who is all over these trade rumors, is reporting that Norman Powell of the Los Angeles Clippers is, in fact, on the trade block. Now, when you take a look at the numbers here from Norman Powell, 17 points per game roughly, 1.8 assists per game, 2.9 rebounds per game. He shot 47.9% from the field last season with the Clippers. He only started 8 games, so he came off the bench, put up these type of numbers off the bench for the Clippers last season. I think Powell is very underrated. I think he is a really, really good player. When you look at the numbers, very impressive numbers, especially when you consider the fact he came off the bench. I think he could be a decent fit on this Boston team. I really do. And he could be the new Malcolm Brogdon, right? You traded for Brogdon last year. He won 6th Man of the Year after being traded to Boston. Norman Powell, a guy that has the numbers potentially to be in that conversation for 6th Man of the Year. Brogdon probably going to be starting this next year for Boston. He's not going to be eligible for 6th Man of the Year. But Norman Powell, how about you bring him off the bench, have him be your new 6th man? He can be in that conversation as well. Would you trade for Norman Powell? Type Y for yes or type in for no down in the comments section. Do you think the Celtics should trade for Norman Powell? Let me know down in the comments section. Y for yes, in for no. Go down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. I do think he is a more realistic name. I don't know what you would have to give up. He's about to turn 30 years old, so I don't think it would take that much to get him. Maybe a future first, maybe. But let me know, would you trade for Norman Powell? Could make some sense here when you're looking at the Celtics roster for this next year. Now let's talk about Grant Williams, because he had a press conference, or at least a media session yesterday at a Fanatics event in New England. He was asked about the possibility of returning to Boston. Here is what Grant said. Whatever happens, I have not much control in this because I allowed my agents and everyone else to focus in on that, because my whole focus and goal has always been on winning and making sure that team success has been the number one most important thing. It's just a matter of the decision of whether or not it's needed. Cap-wise, with the new CBA, all these teams, as you see, are trying to get trades and contracts done prior to the CBA truly being enacted. So you're going to see a lot. Of all-in pushes. Grant's been a great player. He's been awesome to have in Boston. However, I do not see Grant Williams coming back. I really don't. It's been widely expected since the Kristaps Porzingis deal that Grant Williams is not coming back to Boston, that the Celtics are really just not going to be able to afford him. He apparently wants north of $15 million per year in free agency. So Kristaps, he's owed $36 million next year. You're going to have to pay Jaylen Brown. You're going to have to pay Jason Tatum next year. Kristaps probably going to be eligible, or going to get an extension, I should say. So I do not see Grant Williams returning to Boston. This was interesting because the Mavs have been linked to Grant Williams a lot. I believe they're the favorites to land Grant. Here is what The Athletic said, according to Mavs Fans for Life. The Mavs would prefer to sign Grant Williams to the full mid-level exception, which is $12.4 million. So all teams get $12.4 million MLE. They can use that on one player, multiple players. They want to use that full MLE on Grant Williams, which is $12.4 million per year, which I think Grant Williams will want more than that. So if the Mavs are only planning on offering him $12.4 million per year, the Celtics match that, then maybe he does come back to Boston. He is a restricted free agent. A sign and trade also very possible. Taking a look at the numbers here for Grant Williams this past season. 8.1 points per game, 1.7 assists per game, 4.6 rebounds per game. He shot 45.4% from the floor. really what stood out to me from Grant was his defense, right? And if the Celtics do, in fact, lose Grant Williams, they are certainly going to miss that. Where is Grant Williams going to play next season? Let me know down in the comment section. Is it going to be Boston? Miami has been another team linked to him. I'm going to say Dallas. I think that is the most likely outcome right now for Grant Williams. There does seem to be a lot of interest here from the Dallas Mavericks. If you're the Celtics, I would just try to get a sign and trade done so you don't lose him for nothing. You get something back in return from Dallas. I'm interested to see what a sign and trade deal would look like with the Mavs. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, also to our main channel. That's our main channel sublink right there, youtube.com/chatsportstv. They are going to be live starting on Friday. All the best free agency coverage on YouTube here at Chat Sports.